Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes? So good to see you all. Thank you so much for coming to hear me talk about three of my favorite subjects, which are fiber, thread, and connection. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you a very quick overview of spinning, and then I'll do a short demonstration, and then we'll do some imaginary spinning. This is going to be way too short, as you all know. And since it's going to be way too short, I'll invite you to, if you have any questions as the presentation goes along, to write them in the chat. And after the presentation, I will go through them, and I will write an email, or I'll record another video that I'll send you with the answers to all of your questions. Is that okay? Yeah? Yes. All right, so first, before we dive in, or in order to dive in, I would like us to all get here together. And for this, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and take a moment to imagine that all of your thousands of ancestors are standing behind you. And just become aware that no matter where you're from, no matter your ethnicity, your religion, which part of the world you're from, it's most likely that a great majority of those thousands of people standing behind you would have spun thread on a spindle. Most likely every day. And because we're going to talk about fiber and thread today, I'd like you to take a minute to honor those ancestors who spun. Honor their hands, honor their stories, honor the thread of life that connects you all the way back to them. And if you go back far enough, that also connects you to all of the people in this group today. And just take a moment to be with that. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and maybe type in the chat how you're feeling, or if that brought on anything for you, any insights, just so that everybody can benefit from your experience, can share your experience, and that all of your individual strands can start becoming a thread. Connected, yeah. All right, I'm done. So, as we just saw, spinning on a spindle dates back to the beginning of humanity. The oldest piece of rope that was found is between 40,000 and 50,000 years old. And the oldest ball of yarn that was found is about 5,000 years old. And it doesn't matter which civilization, which part of the world, there are representation of spindle spinning in every single art and ancient civilization. Here you have Egyptian, you have Roman, Greek, and also you can see on those pictures that many cultures in the world still spin on a regular basis or as part of their daily life. So just the simple act of spinning, like the motions, already connects you to a much wider field of humanity, if you will. before we even start talking about intention or any of those things. And another advantage of this is that because it's so prevalent in humanity, most spiritual traditions have a spinning deity, or a deity that's associated with thread. And so when you start spinning, automatically it connects you into your spiritual lineage. You can just do a little research, and even if you don't do research, it kind of like, it's automatic. Without having to borrow from other traditions or other ancestries, you can be connected into your own spiritual lineage, while also being connected to all the other spiritual lineage that have like a thread god or goddess. And here we see the Norns, which are the Nordic fates, the Greek fates that spin the thread of life and cut it. And this is Ishel, which is a South American spinning goddess. This is Amaterasu, which is the Japanese goddess of thread and weaving. And this is Frigg, which is a Nordic goddess, also among other things of spinning, and she's here as well. Hello. So spinning, the practical aspect of spinning, okay? What do you need? You need fiber, and that you can get from many places. One of those is animals. These are some of the most popular ones to make yarn from. You can get from plant fiber. So these are also, there's many of them. These are some of the most common ones. Cotton, obviously. Bamboo has become very popular with the vegan crowd. Hemp, I've put hemp because most likely this is what the 5,000-year-old ball of yarn would have looked like. It's actually a fiber that was spun for thousands of years before us. And many other places you can get, like for instance, different types of silk. You can get from silkworm cocoon, from some seashells that produce filaments that create silk, lotus. So fiber, you can get fiber from anywhere, and fiber is a living thing. It's like, it's organic. You can choose fiber depending on your intention and what you want to make with it. And how you're going to create thread is you're going to take this fiber and you're going to introduce twist into it with a very simple tool called a spindle. And this is, the anatomy of a spindle is really simple. It's basically, it's a whirl and a shaft. And the whirl is the weight that allows it to spin. And the shaft is the part that you will wrap the yarn around. And they are drop spindles. Those are drop spindles, and which spin in the air. And I'll show them to you later. And they are supported spindles, and those are supported spindles right here. And how it works is that you have some fiber, and as you can see on this picture, the fibers are aligned. See, they're like kind of parallel to each other. And what you're going to do is you're going to introduce twist, and as you introduce twist, they're going to grab onto each other and create thread. Because if you pull on those fibers without any twist there, and I'll show you that in a minute, they will come apart. And when you introduce twist into them, they grab onto each other and they create a thread. So basically just the act of spinning is basically to create connection between individual fiber, between individual strands, so that they create a thread. All right, so I'm gonna do a very short demonstration. Let me just get this set up. Here we are. Where am I? Yeah. Okay. So everybody can see my hands? Yes? Okay, cool. So here I have some fiber. All right. And as you can see, as I was saying earlier, if I pull on it, it just comes apart in my hands. There you go. And then I have bits of fibers in of fiber in my hands. And as I'm doing this, this is called, by the way, this is called pre-drafting, where you get your fiber a little more aerated. And as I pull on this, I can already start thinking about all the threads of energy that run through my field and my body, and start thinking about aligning those threads and organizing them. And as I'm doing it with my hands, I can also do it with my intention and my mind. And so once you've pre-drafted your fiber, I'm going to put this one away because I have some already done. You're going to take your spindle. This is a supported spindle that has a lot of yarn on it already. And you're going to spin it, and spinning it introduce twist into that thread, which is here, which you can't see because it's so fine. And I'm just going to pull on the fiber, and the twist will travel up the fiber and make it become thread, as you can see. And this spindle you can't see because of the yarn, but it actually has a shape of a fertility goddess and an abundance rune carved on it. So if I were to use it with intention, I would use it to spin threads. For instance, if I wanted to make something for someone who was trying to have a child, or for someone who had money problems, or for myself, if I wanted to be thinking about the notion of abundance and grounding, because it's also like a supported spindle, so it's actually set on the surface. And as I'm spinning, I can have all those thoughts and all these intentions, and the spiral, like the motion of spiral, will actually take them and catch them into the yarn. So that's a supported spindle. And you also have drop spindles, as I was saying earlier. This is a drop spindle, so it twists in the air. It's basically suspended by the yarn that you're spinning as you're spinning it. And this one actually has a gemstone whirl. So I would be using this, for instance, if I wanted the properties of that gemstone to diffuse into my field and into the yarn, of course, as well. But because when it's spinning, it's actually sending that energy in a circular pattern in my space and in my field. So those are like the two main types of spindle. This is also a supported one without yarn on it, and this is a drop spindle. And if you look at those two, which one are you most drawn to? If you can tell. I know you don't, you've never held one and you don't really know how to do it, but like without thinking too much, which one would you be most drawn to? And that will already tell you something about your kind of energy. Like, how many airy people do we have in this group? How many earthy people do we have in this group? So that's it for that demonstration. I'm gonna come back to you. There you go. All right. Can you all see me? Yes. Okay, so now that you have a small sense of what spinning looks like, we're going to do a little bit of imaginary spinning. So spinning If you want to use spinning as a way to focus your intention, it's all about the spiral, right? It's the spiral that kind of takes your intention, and you can, many cultures still say prayers over the thread that they spin. You can chant mantras, you can sing songs, you can talk to yourself, you can do whatever you want. You can also like kind of bring the energy of a place into yarn if you want to spin in a specific place that you want to capture kind of the vibe of. So here we're going to do this with our minds, because obviously you don't have spindles and fiber at home, unless you're a spinner already. So did everybody bring the garment that I asked you to bring? Yay, the shawl. Can you, yeah, show it to us. Show it to us.
Laure made that.
I did. I made Fiona's as well. All right, and if you don't have one, you can actually use what you're wearing. And was it interesting to look at that garment and look at the thread and how it was made? Yeah? Did that get you to look at fiber and at like cloth in a different way? So you're going to take that garment, put it on the table in front of you or on your knees, depending on where you are, and put your hands on it. And then you're going to close your eyes and think about a quality, something that you want to bring more of into your life. Something like fun or abundance or peace, whatever it is. And if that quality was made of something, what would it be made of as raw material? And it doesn't have to be an actual real fiber, because we're in the imagination right now. So for instance, if you're working, if you want more fun in your life, it could look like cotton candy. Or if you want more lightness in your life, it could look like the cloud. Whatever it is, you know, that quality for you would be made of as raw material. And when you have that, you're going to imagine that you have a great amount of that raw material. And you're going to start pulling on that slowly. You don't have to be fast. And as you're pulling on it, you're going to start twisting it so that it becomes a thread. And if that's not quite clear to you, you can just imagine that, you know, as you're pulling on it, it's twisting itself into a thread. And as you're creating that thread, you can have the intention that the essence of that quality is caught in the heart of that spiral, of that thread. And as you're pulling it, you're going to imagine that it starts weaving itself into your garment. And there are several ways it can do that. It can actually merge with the existing thread, or it can weave itself alongside the existing thread, or it can weave itself into the hem or into the color. Or you can even embroider patterns on your garment with that thread that you're pulling. And when you get to the end of your material, or when you feel that you have enough into your garment, just kind of become aware that now this garment holds this quality's vibration for you. And that if you want to connect to it, you can wear that garment, you can touch that garment, and just be with it. when you're ready, you can come back and open your eyes. And if you want to share in the chat, how was that? If that was interesting. How are you feeling about that? So this was an overview. If you want to go deeper, and by go deeper, I mean learn to spin. I've put some links there that you can use to learn how to spin with a drop spindle or spin on a supported spindle. I would personally advise to learn on the drop spindle because the supported spindle is harder, but if you feel cold to the supported spindle, just go for it. And then there's a link to buy fiber and a link to buy spindles. Obviously, there are many, many links on the internet if those don't work for you. And I'm always available. You all have my email. You can send me messages. And I'm reading your messages at the same time, and it's so beautiful. You can send me messages. I'm available to troubleshoot spinning, to advise you on which fiber to start with, which spindles to start with, what to do, how to do it. I love to talk about fiber, so don't hesitate to hit me up. Thank you so much for being here and for being a wonderful audience. And I will send you the slides, I will send you the recording, and if there are any questions, I will answer them in the email as well. Thank you so much and have a great day.